So in today's Creative Confidence Catch Up, today I'm going to be chatting with Juliet. So Juliet, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so hi and thank you, Amy. I'm Juliet Fisher and I am an entrepreneur, I'd say. I've created a business called Juliet Fisher Creatives, and that's been sort of born out of years of hard work through hospitality and owning my own business, and then also writing a book and doing lots of artwork. So it's like an amalgamation of lots of different bits and pieces. But I'd say I'm a Juliet of all trades and a master of none, but I'm mastering my little bits and pieces now. So
Well,
yeah.
that's really great to hear some insights about your past and how you've got to here, I suppose. But my first question to you today is: have you ever had any setbacks that have affected your confidence during this journey?
I've had a variety of setbacks,
Mm.
but I think that just makes us stronger. I'd say probably there's one on a personal front and one on a professional front, I'd say. The professional front is, so we experienced a massive house fire, which had an impact on my business. And obviously that sort of, that was 14 years of hard work. And not that it obviously all went up in smoke, but other sort of things have been born from that.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably on a personal front, I went through domestic abuse with my first husband, and had to sort of save my 5 children, and we were supported very much by Women's Aid and the Refuge. And during that time, also very sadly, my brother commits suicide. So, and we were very close. So there's been a few things that have happened over the years, but I'd like to think that they make you they give you a tweak and a different perspective on life, I think. And and obviously the children, I haven't really been able to have a setback. I've just had to get on and be a great mum to them, best mum I can be, and just be a good business person too. So yeah, there's been other things that have come. There's been hope that's arisen from these sort of moments of decline, but you just get back up and
Well,
yeah.
that's really interesting. You talk about hope, and you also talk about women's aid. So, in terms of like communities and things like that, would you say that around the time of these things happening, then as a result of like maybe community, women's aid, and people surrounding you, it brought about that bit of hope in during these setbacks?
Yeah, definitely. And as you bring in community, last night I was at Wembley for a Women in Business,
Oh,
and
wow.
I got invited to be a judge there this year, which
Right.
was really great. And the award that I gave was a community service award.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, no, it was really, really just as you brought that up, I'm like was really empowered and inspired by that. So, but I really do believe in the power of community. Absolutely.
So with your own business then, have you got a group of people who come on like the workshops, or what is that you are currently doing at the moment then? Like do you
Yeah,
have like sessions, workshops, facilitate anything like that?
yeah, I do a variety of things. So, I mean, as I wear lots of hats, I do business consultancy for the NHS, for our
Wow.
local hospitals. So, I work on quite a few of the community projects there with the charities of My Wish, and I've just put in a funding proposal actually for medical education. So that's really, that really is great. And then on my gallery front, which I've opened this art gallery, and we have workshops. I've got actually a workshop coming up in I think it's the 24th of November, and that's around mindfulness and sort of colors, and so there's always a sort of gathering of like-minded people. Yeah.
Mm. And that's the thing. Do you find that during these workshops and things like that, that when one person might come to a session really like, oh, I don't know what to do or where to go, but then as soon as people start to say, actually, I feel the same way, and they get chatting, then everybody's in it together, really. So then they feel like, I don't know, like inspired by other people and get encouraged to be creative so they can just be themselves.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. And I think it's also a lot of people I mean, definitely after COVID, I think people have been quite isolated,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gathering them together again. And it could be anything from, like, making a wreath, at Christmas, for Christmas, or making cards, or but this one essentially is, it's about finding what colors suit you, and
Mm.
what and I think it's all part of it. I mean, I'm not actually delivering the workshop. I'm hosting it in the gallery space, but it will be really great to meet new people. That's obviously always, so you meet a new sangha, you meet a new tribe, you meet a new family, and yeah, and you connect, and I mean, it could be anything. It could be, a pizza party. It could be,
That's cool.
drinking tea. It could be any kind of ceremony. So, it's a gathering of people, and it's always, there'll always be a gem of information that's shared, or I always find that anyway.
Do you find, has there been any sort of session or workshop that it's really not inspired you, but you've had a bit of a favourite, if that makes sense?
I think
Highlight.
possibly how we connected. I think it was through Amanda, possibly. She does empowering women. She
Okay.
had written a book, Amanda Hart's her name, and she's had some really great workshops with yoga, and gong music, and mindfulness, and I don't want to go too into sort of, because I'm quite spiritual myself, but I'm a Christian
Okay.
Christian spiritual, but there's always other insights into sort of, other people's perceptions of things, which I always find quite interesting. But again, it sort of helps you on a personal level, and that obviously helps you on a professional level. So a lot of these things I go to maybe to heal, or to restore, or to revive, but then there's something that you'll glean from there, which will assist you into the future. I always find that. But also, I've always felt that people can be quite fearful to go to these things, and then obviously making the changes that are necessary is a process, and it takes time. Things don't just happen overnight.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of,
Mm-hmm.
just it evolves, and you adapt, and you have patience, and acceptance. I think that's part of, of where I come from part of these, workshops, or retreats. Yeah.
It is, and I find, like, by what you've been saying, and also from my own practice, creativity brings about that sort of self-care element. And
Mm.
I do find, when you're saying like healing and restoring and all these sorts of things, and I can really relate. And then also the self-discovery part and finding more about ourselves, because I don't know if do some like clay sessions on the wheel with
Mm-hmm.
people, and what I tend to find is people come to these sessions with the expectation of what something's meant to be or what it should look like. But then as time goes on, it's not necessarily then for them how things start to look. It's the experience of how it makes them actually feel. And it is that, like, healing the feeling of it, and the a lot of the time, a lot of people say it's very cathartic, the process of. So it's interesting how those sorts of things start to overlap.
Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, because well, I can't remember who said it. It's I love quotes, but it's people won't really remember what you say, but they'll remember how they made you feel.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think it was Maria Mayo. I do remember it, and I thought that, having worked a lot in hospitality, and
Mhm.
uh, it is making the client, or the customer, or the patient, or the colleague feel well, feel good.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it is, and it's all through conversation, communication,
Mhm.
or practical activities. So
And then from there, I suppose, like, I'll point to you, like, do you feel that by going through those creative sort of workshops, hosting them, engaging in them, it's kind of brought about your own confidence from what you have in the past experienced in some
yeah,
ways?
yeah, I do think so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, experience and wisdom are, you have to go through the changes, you have to go through the motions. I
Mhm.
think, I'm very different to how I was when I was 20, you know, and I've had to
Yeah.
have the life journey, and I've had to have the experiences to create who I am today. So
Mhm.
yeah,
It's like that
definitely.
metamorphosis, isn't it? Like the evolving of it. And it happens, doesn't it? And then when people say, oh, I don't hang around with those people anymore, or I don't like that thing anymore that I used to, or I don't like that food, that it's like, or I like that, or it's interesting how people's perceptions change over time, just because that's how we are as people. And the best thing is change, really.
Yeah, and the world is moving so fast, you know, with, you know, technology, you know, these Zoom calls
Yes.
now. I mean, you know, we live on our, you know, digital transformation. That's what I do a lot of at the hospital at the moment. This
Yeah.
where I work is, you know, digital transformation and communicating them and connecting them to all the different departments, like the HR department, the payroll department, the PGME department, I mean, all of them, the unison, everyone. It's the collaboration to and to connect them all is, it's very hard, but you have to you know, you have to get out there to do it. And yeah, and it's happening super fast, and we have to be on the bandwagon with it, you know. I mean, not everyone, you know, we make choices, but you know, AI, that's just, you know, that was nothing, you know, that wasn't around before. But you know, that's it, all happens super fast, and we have to, yeah, as you say, metamorphosize. We have to just um if we, yeah, definitely in business, and actually even on a, you know, a personal level, you know, being a mum, I had to be super quick. I said that I was never going to get Snapchat. I vowed I was never going to get Snapchat, but if I want
I
to
don't think
communicate,
you're missing out.
no, but no, if I want to communicate with my children, I had to
Yeah.
set up a little
Yeah, I
Snapchat
suppose.
group. So
But that's one of those, isn't it? Keeping up. And that's the thing, because all these different platforms are forever changing. And I found the other day, logged onto my computer, I'm like, yeah, this is great. I'm go on this platform. And then all of a sudden, because the computer itself isn't compatible with that anymore because it's so old, oh, it's a case that, oh, I've got to buy a new one now because this isn't compatible. And it's that sort of, I suppose, having to buy stuff that you don't necessarily need, but it's that sort of, people keep wanting us to buy into the new, and it's
newest
awful.
thing. I know. Actually, having, you know, when we had this massive house fire, and we lost everything,
Right.
it
Yeah.
really was, I don't want to say a cathartic moment, but it really made me, I mean, obviously the children lost all their childhood. We've got our memories in our memory bank, but we don't actually have anything tangible.
Mm.
And it really has made us quite minimalist, I think, you know, just
Yeah.
in our outlook. You know, I think the boys, like definitely my fourth son, he probably would just live with like 5 kilos worth of stuff. Like that's all he kind of needs. But as you said, you know, we always just need to adapt to the latest phone, the latest computer, the latest, you know, but we can make do.
Oh, I definitely
But
think so. Mm.
yeah, but I mean, obviously, definitely in business, you can be flexible and adaptable. But I mean, I met some very interesting people yesterday about all the different platforms they use, and
Hmm.
you know, even if it's for accountancy and taxes. And there was a lady who does, you know, she's sort of quite a, she's a huge entrepreneur in the northern up north, doing tenancies, and how, you know, just you have to be current. And you know, a lot of technology is, you know, if you want to be on the pulse, you have to be that current. So yeah,
It's
I
all the
mean, it's a bit
trends and
like,
stuff.
yeah, I mean, it's a bit like you know, writing my book and getting that published, and then setting up the art gallery. I mean, I could just be, you know, talking the talk, but you actually have to walk the walk as well, and you have to action it, and you have to get out there, and you have to promote yourself. And I mean, you know, and overcome the fear, overcome the gremlins, overcome the imposter syndrome. It's like, and we just have to, yeah, it's not easy, but and as we're going back to before, it's getting the right people around you to support you through the journey, and who, you know, encourage you, or when you're in a bit of a wobble, just be able to, you know, talk it through. But yeah, it is about sort of keeping on your your finger on the pulse, but in a healthy way. I think it's
Yes.
very important to be in a healthy manner. But yeah.
Well, it's been such a great opportunity to chat with you today, Julia, and it's really much appreciated. But my last little question for you: any words of wisdom, any words of encouragement that you'd like to share with the viewers today? And it doesn't have to be creative, so whatever you think.
I think so. William Blake wrote this phrase, "Energy is an eternal delight,"
Mhm.
and it's always stuck with me. And ever since I was a teenager, really, because we all do need energy. Like we need to have the energy, and that could be in the form of just our own, just our own well-being. But energy, as in finances, as in love, as in nurturing, as in so. The more that we have good energy and positive energy and feed it out to the world, it kind of delivers this eternal delight. And eternal is forever, so that's kind of sort of my kind of metaphor for life, really.
Yeah, and I suppose it is one of those things that if you put it out there, it'll manifest its way back
Manifest.
to you. Yeah, and it'll come back. So yeah, but yeah, really brilliant conversation today, and thank you so much for joining us.
No, my pleasure, and thank you, Amy. It's very kind.